I love drinking alcohol. That is probably irresponsible to say, but if I'm being honest, drinking can kind of feel like a superpower. It helped me in making friends, getting jobs. I even got the feeling that just having a drink made me more likable. And it kind of did.
It's your boy!
Until one day, I decided to quit alcohol entirely. And it completely changed my life. Now, my point with this video is not to judge anyone for drinking or insist that cutting alcohol entirely is the only valid choice to make. In fact, I'll get to whether or not I'm going to continue being alcohol-free going forward, but first, I want to talk about how I got to the point where I was drinking 7 to 14 drinks each week and why this lifestyle, at least on the surface, seemed to be working. There's a reason alcohol is referred to as social lubricant. Not only does it make you feel more confident and less reserved, but alcohol temporarily shrinks your prefrontal cortex, the area of your brain used for decision making and impulse control. But this is also the area of the brain that needs to be active if we are lying or intentionally trying to deceive someone. So sharing a drink with someone is almost like making an agreement to mutually disarm. Like you're each taking a little drink of truth serum before you start the night. This is a part of the reason why for over 1,000 years, alcohol has been served at everything from banquets to treaty negotiations. Even world leaders have de-escalated tensions by getting shit-faced together. I'm not kidding, this was literally a summit for a major peace negotiation. So at 24, when I upended my life and moved across the country to a new city, going out for drinks was a key player in how I developed friendships. Drinking after work or at a concert literally felt like I was getting to leapfrog multiple steps to form connections with new people quickly. And not only are many of the people that I met over drinks still some of my closest friends to this day, but these new friends helped me land jobs and get career opportunities that I wouldn't have ever heard about if I opted for, say, a quiet night in on a Friday night. So with so much social capital tied to alcohol consumption and numerous examples where drinking has improved my life, why would I ever want to stop? And the honest answer is, I didn't. My journey to giving up alcohol kind of started by accident. When a year and a half ago, my health started to become a problem for me. I had gained a lot of weight, my health was taking a hit, and I felt generally unmotivated and unfocused most days. I was kind of at a breaking point. And so I did what any responsible adult would do, try a viral internet challenge.
Bruh. The 75 hard challenge.
For 75 days, the challenge would require me to work out twice a day, stick to a strict diet, and there was this one other pesky rule: no alcohol. Now, because I was making multiple drastic changes across the board in regards to my exercise and my nutrition, it's hard to pinpoint whether quitting alcohol had a major impact on my weight loss or my performance in the gym. But one thing that did start to jump out at me early into 75 Hard was how much my sleep started to improve.
I slept for 10 hours. 10 hours. I don't know when the last time was that I slept for 10 hours. I wasn't up late, didn't do anything out of the normal. 10 hours.
Through most of my 20s, I had just assumed that I was a bad sleeper. I had reoccurring problems of going to bed, falling asleep immediately, and then waking up 3 to 4 hours later and having to spend hours struggling to fall back asleep. And while all my sleep problems certainly didn't go away while I was completing 75 Hard, I found myself waking up less often, which was still a noticeable and much appreciated change. And after years trying different evening and morning routines, this was the first positive step I'd actually made in quite some time. And all I had to do was give up that evening glass of wine I was used to having at the end of the day. Because as I quickly learned, drinking alcohol is genuinely terrible for your sleep.
When people use alcohol in the evenings, they think alcohol makes them fall asleep quicker. It doesn't. It's just knocking out your cortex in the brain and sedating you more quickly, so you lose consciousness, but you're not going into naturalistic sleep. The second problem with alcohol is that it will litter your sleep with many more awakenings throughout the night. So you're going to be waking up more frequently, which means that your sleep isn't what we call consolidated. You don't have one nice, long, continuous bout throughout the night. The third problem with alcohol is that it's very good at blocking your dream sleep, something that we call rapid eye movement sleep. So alcohol in terms of a sleep aid is anything but.
So after I completed 75 Hard, I decided I was going to try staying off alcohol for just a little bit longer. I was hoping I could continue improving my sleep, and I was curious to find out what other benefits I might see if I continued to avoid drinking. As I looked into the research more, I realized all the ways alcohol had been absolutely pummeling my health.
When people ingest this poison, because indeed it is poison, it produces substantial stress and damage to cells. Thinning of the neocortex kills the good bacteria in your gut. Cells within the liver really take a beating. It's truly empty calories. Alter DNA methylation, it can alter gene expression. Fetal alcohol syndrome decreases in testosterone, higher levels of baseline stress, and significant increase in cancer risk. That's pretty outrageous, right? Is that all bad news? Well, pretty much.
It turns out that all the social power-ups I was experiencing when I was drinking were basically paired with taking on double the damage to my immune system, my cardiovascular system, my sleep. The list goes on. You heard it from Huberman.
Because indeed it is poison.
And after realizing the full toll alcohol had on my body, I was ready to give it up completely and start reaping the benefits. There was just one problem. Nothing in my life actually changed. While my sleep had improved somewhat during 75 Hard, the longer I continued to avoid alcohol through 100 days, 150 days, my sleep more or less stayed the same, and I wasn't experiencing any new breakthroughs in my overall mood or health that I could clearly point to as a win. At the same time, a large part of my social life that had been centered around drinking was starting to come into conflict with my decision to stop. And while none of my friends were ever rude about it or anything, I realized when I announced that I wasn't drinking, things got a little weird.
So, what are you getting to drink? Might just stick with water, actually. You're not getting anything? No, I'm gonna get food, but I'm just trying to cut back on alcohol, you know. Maybe I won't get anything either. No, get whatever you want. Actually, I'll get milk, please. Straight from the cow, unpasteurized milk. Huh.
The social pressures to drink are very real, as most people don't like drinking alone, and that makes sense. If drinking with someone is a vehicle to relaxed and informal atmospheres, and you are deliberately reducing your inhibitions, you probably want the person you're hanging out with to come along for the ride. And each time I had to tell a friend that I wasn't going to be drinking, it kind of made me feel like I was taking that experience away from them, just a bit of a buzzkill. What made these exchanges even worse though was the fact that even though I wasn't drinking, I wasn't exactly seeing life-changing transformations. Basically, it felt like I was doing this for nothing. It turns out when alcohol is a consistent part of your life for a long time, it can actually rebalance certain chemicals and hormones in your brain. And the process of getting back to baseline can take as long as 6 months up to a year. And for me personally, it took almost 6 months to see any meaningful change. And when they did start happening, they were not what I was expecting. Not only did I see even greater improvement in my quality of sleep consistently after 6 months, but even more remarkable, at least to me, was how drastically I saw an improvement in my ability to focus. If you follow this channel, you know I have had some serious issues focusing in the past. As someone who works for myself, I was constantly struggling with the ability to work consistently and complete tasks on time. And it honestly felt like I had tried everything, rearranging my office to adding app blockers on my phone. I even took an assessment to see if I had ADHD. But 6 months without drinking, and suddenly the act of sitting down and focusing became something that I didn't need to think about. It wasn't like I was trying to push myself through this foggy haze of distraction and restlessness. Things genuinely felt way easier. And the quality of my work was gradually improving as well. And I think this improvement in my focus was due to a snowball effect from multiple factors. My improved sleep helped me realize that I'm actually a morning person. Without alcohol in my system overnight, it became way easier to start my days at 6 a.m., walk to the gym, work out first thing, and actually feel energized when it was time to sit down at my laptop and get to work. I certainly think improving my habits and boundaries around work has been a factor, but simply not having the carryover effects of drinking the night before helped me feel like my mind is actually operating at its proper capacity. With my work becoming easier and less forced, suddenly my mood started to improve, my daily stress dropped, so when I get to the evenings now, I don't feel like I need to wind down or de-stress. Instead, I've just found hobbies and snacks that I enjoy rather than opting for a glass of wine. And because sparkling water is a lot cheaper than wine or cocktails, the final thing that really hit me after I quit was how much money I was saving. This seems like it would be obvious, but taking a step away from drinking, it made me realize that I was pocketing an extra $70 to $100 every week. On average, that came out to $350 saved every month and $350 a month invested in a high growth mutual fund over the course of 10 years. Who am I kidding? Most of that went into my record collection. But I love my records, so I'm happy. After quitting alcohol for 365 days, I guess the big question is, will I ever drink again? And this may surprise you, but yes. I am not in any way going back to my old relationship with drinking. I have seen too much progress since then to know that this is not going to be my life anymore. But the same as how changing my diet and eating habits over this past year doesn't mean I've given up cheeseburgers and ice cream entirely. I am going to reserve my relationship with alcohol for special occasions, things like friends' weddings or special holidays, things like that, so that I'm changing my relationship from 7 to 14 drinks a week to probably like 7 drinks a year if you add it all up. I know moderation isn't a very glamorous takeaway. The truth is there are things about alcohol that I do love and I do enjoy, but over this last year as I took a closer look at alcohol, I also realized there are a lot of things I kind of hate too.